A Lamau. This is Illusion here, back with some NPL content. JK, this is Hiker Toad here, bringing you guys week 9, and we are going up against Illusion, second to last week before playoffs, and we are out here stealing his intro because we are doing it better and bigger. So, yeah, like I said, playoffs are starting soon. Illusion hasn't been doing the greatest this season, however, he is still a very solid player who definitely won't be a pushover, and we are not locked for playoffs, so we definitely want to win every game until we are locked, and maybe win a bit more if we are locked next week. So yeah, I'm gonna hop right into this builder as he has the Tapu Koko, Infernape, Hydreigon, Empoleon, Porygon 2, Slowbro, Gligar, Mega Heracross, Vileplume, Hawlucha, and the Sceptile. So this man has the Tapu Koko, Infernape, Hydreigon, Volt Turn sort of combo. Really solid pairing there. He has those three, and he has Volt Turn into stuff like Mega Heracross. Then he has stuff to take advantage of the electric terrain like the Hawlucha and the Sceptile. I think he picked up the Hawlucha for this week. I don't think he had it before this week, and I remember that Sceptile. He's had Sceptile for a bit now, but that was also a transaction earlier in the season. So yeah, I'm going to go into just hop right into my game plan, and that is Comfey. Comfey's second appearance brought against I. Now we're bringing it against Illusion, so we're just bringing it against the Trick of I here. So that's pretty heat. But Comfey is just really good against his offense. It's a really good check to the Hydreigon and the Hawlucha mainly. Hawlucha obviously is just a really terrifying threat in the format, and it's always something that needs to be respected. And what Comfey does is it gives me like a really solid check to it, as modest of Pixie Plate boosted Draining Kisses do like 60 to Hawlucha. So all I need is Chip, and then it just dies to a Draining Kiss. So as long as I play my cards right, I should never get swept by that. And also like Hydreigon and his fast Mons really don't appreciate fairy type moves like the Tapu Koko and the Infernape, as on his roster his only fairy resists are the Empoleon and the Vileplume. So my game plan will be revolving around neutralizing that Empoleon and the Vileplume to a lesser extent, as I'm expecting the Empoleon to come 100%, as not so much the Vileplume, although it still could be a viable bring in this matchup, so it's something that I must be aware of. As pretty much Comfey beats everything else, as Taunt, Synthesis, Calm Mind, Draining Kiss is all I need. Draining Kiss just for doing damage and all that, Calm Mind boosting obviously. Synthesis is really good for just recovering up, and Taunt helps me beat the Porygon 2, the Slowbro, Gligar, stops them from toxicking me, it stops them from setting up, it stops them if they're like Rest Talk or something. So Taunt in general is just really, really good against him in case he wants to try and pull anything funky. And that just helps my Comfey sweep, so that's really good, as Comfey, as like I said, I'm going to be building around Comfey. And to help me do that, I have Choice Scarf, Trick, Yuxi, and my goal, as you see here, I have no offensive investment and I have no speed. I also only have one attacking move. My plan is to lead Yuxi and to trick the Empoleon turn 1. As tricking the Empoleon means that I get rid of any potential leftovers, which leftovers allow it to beat the Comfey 1v1. And they also make it pretty much useless, as then it's locked into whatever it goes for. If it goes for rocks, I can just defog them away, and I can get my rocks up later on with the Yuxi, and it just makes Empoleon a non-factor, as it makes Empoleon like a non-factor. That's really his only good check, his main check to the Comfey, as once I can do that, I can just see what he locks himself into and try and maybe use that as fodder with my Comfey, so that's really good there. Heal Bell is really nice in case I want to play recklessly with my Comfey, as if I get that Toxic, it won't be able to sweep, so I can just Heal Bell the Toxic away. Psychic just for general, just hitting stuff like just hitting his team, and this just Fizz Def, as Infernape is a really big threat to my team, so I need to be careful about that. Next up, we have the Nidoqueen. The Nidoqueen's really good here, just sort of my I'm not going to try to say big words. Basically, it's my Coco check, and I have Toxic for the Porygon 2 and the Slowbro and stuff like that. Ice Beam, Fire Blast, and Earth Power hit everything. Fire Blast is specifically for the Mega Heracross, as that's just a really big threat to me, and I think that he could bring, like, Volt Turn, like I said, the Volt Turn into Mega Heracross. I think that's a viable strategy, especially since he likes bringing more offensive teams. I could definitely see him doing that and then bring like the combination of Coco, Infernape, Hydreigon, Heracross, and then like maybe like slap on like Empoleon and Slowbro, or maybe add in P2 and like maybe get rid of Hydra for P2. I could potentially see that. So I think that'd be really good, and so Toxic and just Fire Blasting that Mega Hera is really nice to punish it, and this thing just hits his team pretty good in general. So next up, I have my Rotom Wash. Really wanted a Defogger this week because I have a really interesting Charizard set that really doesn't want the rocks up, and he really doesn't have the best rockers, as he has the Infernape, the Empoleon, and the Gligar, but that's pretty much it. And Infernape is probably not going to have rocks unless it's a Focus Sash lead, I'd imagine. And if he's like Rocks Empoleon or Rocks Gligar, Rotom can obviously beat that, so that's very good for me. Toxic is for the Porygon 2 specifically. Don't really need it for much else, and also the Slowbro, so I can, like I said, prevent setup, which is always nice. And I can just Volt out to gain myself momentum, as he does have that momentum himself, so I don't want to just lose to that momentum. So yeah, next up we have a very similar Terrakion set to last week, but it worked so well that I figured I might as well give it a try this week. This is a really good breaker against him, as what I can do is if I get a Sword Stance up as he switches into his Slowbro, I think that it's very likely that he either goes for the Protect to waste my Z move, or he's going to switch out and like either sack something or like go into a rock resist, which would most likely be the Empoleon, and especially if the Empoleon is tricked, he would not really care about if that was alive or not. So what Substitute does is it punishes him for scouting, and then I can still have my Z move intact and do a lot of damage to his team, which is really something that I need, so I can just clean, like, I need chip on his faster mons as well. Like, not only his fat, but like just his faster mons, and well, I want chip for it to be Comfey, but also his fatter mons is getting the chip on that is really crucial as well for my Zard set, as this is a pretty interesting set. I'm not going to go into the spread too in depth, although the chances of us rematching are slim. It's just like this is pretty complicated. I'd rather go about the purpose of the set rather than the EVs for this. So basically, I'm Roost, Flare Blitz, Dragon Claw, and Sword Stance. It's a breaker set. It really helps break stuff like the Slowbro, Porygon 2, and the Gligar, all of which could be used as counters to this, but this can break past them, especially if they are toxic. Then this can break them even easier. But this thing's main purpose is to be a secondary Coco check, as well as be an Infernape check, and also be my main way of revenging Heracross, as like I said, Mega Heracross is very threatening. It's hard for me to switch into, so I really like Charizard to be able to handle that Mega Heracross, as I think that's very important. And yeah, this thing's just really bulky. Like, it won't really die very easily, which is why I value Rock so much, as without those rocks up, this thing can just take hits and shrug them off and roost them up, so that's really, really good. So yeah, that's pretty much the team. Pretty simple. Got some unique ideas with the Yuxi with the scarf trick and all that. Got a bulky Zard. Incoming never run DD meme. Never run Dragon Dance meme. But yeah, I'm rambling. So we're just gonna hop right into the battle, and I'll see you guys. Hey, Lamau! What's going on, guys? You got Hyper Toad, and we are back with our battle against Mr. Illusion, coach of the Las Vegas Venusaurs, I think. Yep, pretty sure. So, yeah, looking into this on the team that he brought a completely different team that I expected, as he has no Empoleon and no Slowbro, both of which I was expecting really expecting those two mons to show up, and I'm really surprised that he did decide to bring the Halucha, as I thought that my priority would scare it away, although I'm not too concerned about it. But I felt like it was an interesting bring that he decided to do, as he has a very offensive team with the Porygon 2 and Gligar being his defensive walls / pivots, most likely, as he's trying to most likely overwhelm me with the Sceptile and Halucha Core, along with his Tapu Koko and Infernape, which could very well happen if I do not play carefully enough. So, going into my team, I have the Charizard X as a sort of breaker and secondary Koko check with Roost, Flare Blitz, Dragon Claw, and the Swords Dance. I have Terrakion with Sub once again to scout for the Slowbro, to punish the Slowbro scouting for the Z move, which he did not bring this Slowbro, and he has no resist to my Continental Crush, so that's absolutely amazing if I can get that off. So that's really good with the SD, Stone Edge, Close Combat, and the Sub, like I said. Rotom's just a really good pivot in this matchup with the Toxic, Defog, Volt Switch, and the Hydro Pump. Nidoqueen is my main Tapu Koko check with the Eye of Papa Berry for the Z Guardian of Aloha. With the Toxic, Fire Blast, Ice Beam, and the Earth Power, I have a Choice Scarf Trick Yuxi to help cripple stuff like the Empoleon, the Porygon, Gligar, and the Slowbro, mainly the Empoleon, although it's really nice for crippling the Porygon and the Gligar as well. And then I have the Comfey, which is my Wincon with Taunt, Calm Mind, Draining Kiss, and then the Synthesis. And because he brought no Empoleon, he has no Fairy Resist, which is absolutely huge as this thing beats his defensive Mon. So I just need Chip on his offensive Mons, and that thing is good to go. So I'm just going to lead with my Yuxi, as that was my initial game plan, as he's going to decide to lead with the Infernape. So fearing a potential Sash variant, since he does have such an offensive team with the Halucha and Sceptile, like I said, to potentially pressure me, I feel like he could just use this as a Sash lead, as he's going to make his first mistake in that, which was challenging me, as he's just going to go ahead and U-turn out, so he's Life Orb, so I can assume that this is the Rocks Gligar, so I can just go out into my Rotom now. I'm just going to defog them away, as I don't want Rocks up, because my Charizard is very important in this matchup. Now I can just go into my Charizard to get off that safe Mega. I wasn't really thinking that he'd just predict, so I can just go for the safe Flare Blitz. He doesn't really have a good switch into it, but I can force the Gligar to Roost, as now this is a perfect opportunity to go ahead and trick away my Choice Scarf onto this Gligar, as now his team's even weaker to the Charizard and the Terrakion. Now I'm going to Psychic, expecting him to switch out, expecting my Rotom to come in to defog, as I get some good damage off on the Koko, as now I can go into my Koko response, being the Nidoqueen, as he reveals to be physical Koko, so that's something to keep in mind later on in the game, as I'll have to play carefully around that, knowing that it's physical. So now I'm just going to go into my Rotom, expecting him to just play it safe and go for the Flare Blitz, as he's trying to trap me in the Vortex. But he's just going to go for that, and I know that I can live any hit on the next turn, and just go for the Defog as he goes for the Close Combat. Really good play, punishing me for just going for the Defog. And on this next turn, I can just go into my Charizard, expecting him to go for the Flare Blitz, as that pretty much kills everything that I could have gone out into, like my Yuxi or my Comfey. So I'm just going to go for the Roost now, in case he wanted to go for that U-turn on this turn, in case he knew that he wouldn't be able to kill me with the Close Combat. And I'm going to go into my Yuxi, just expecting him to play it safe, as he's going to get that and weaken himself even further. Now he's going to U-turn on out, as I'm just going to fire off the Psychic, get some more damage off on this Rotom, and on this Gligar, my bad, and go on into my Rotom this turn, as he makes a good play, goes for the U-turn, trying to keep up the momentum, trapping me in the Vortex, as he's going to go for into the Sceptile. I'm just going to sack the Yuxi, because my Charizard is low, and now I can just Roost up with my Charizard, not fearing what this has to do, as he does go for the Dragon Pulse. So he's going to try and fish for crits right here, but I don't think he wants to risk his Sceptile, so I think eventually he will actually switch out, as that is what he does here, as he can just save the Sceptile and pressure me out with the Porygon while keeping him on. So I think that's a fair exchange, as he's unfortunately going to get the freeze on my Terrakion here, as I'm going to go out into it trying to pressure this, and Z-Edge pretty much got a kill right here, but he unfortunately does get that. Not much you can do, so I'm just going to try and thaw out at this point, as he's just going to go for Gligar, but I'm not going to try and thaw out again, as I don't want him to get the rocks up, as Charizard's at full, and I want it to stay at full. So I'm just going to go for the Defog at this point, as he goes into his Koko, and I know he's 100% clicking U-turn. I have a Charizard at full, I have a Nidoqueen at near full, and is very bulky, so I think he's going to U-turn. And I know he's going to U-turn, and I know that I can live a U-turn from the range that I'm at, so I can just Volt Switch out on whatever he wants to go out into afterwards. However, he does get the crit, so my Rotom is going to die, so that's pretty unfortunate. So now he's going to go into his Fernape. I'm going to go into my Comfey. Comfey's my best. Like I said, Comfey is my win con, but his team wasn't exact. I didn't want to rush trying to set up and win with this, but I think that. But obviously I can't set. I'm not going to set this up on the Infernape. However, I think that I'm reaching a position where if I can get a bit more damage off on the Coco potentially, then I can, and the Sceptile, I can be in a good position to win with this Comfey. So that's my goal right here. As Charizard, he still has the Porygon 2, which can check it, and the Porygon 2 is very annoying for my team. So I don't think that it will get weakened that easily, especially with the Terrakion being frozen. So that's something to keep in mind as he goes into the Sceptile, and I know that he's special, so this is just a free Calm Mind right here as he's going to go for the workup. Really cool tech on his part, as I was actually not aware that I got that. However, this is more beneficial for me than him, as I get the Calm Mind boost, and I can do more damage to him. However, his energy balls will still do the same to me unless he crits. So I'm just going to go fire off the Draining Kiss as he goes for the energy ball, and I'm just going to go for the Calm Mind on this turn, as if I go for the Draining Kiss, he will be put into Overgrow range, which is something that I don't want. Well, actually, he will be put into Overgrow range if he is Overgrow. However, he does have the Electric Seed, so he very well could be what's it called? The Unburden, yes. However, my fastest mon is a lone version, so it's fair to assume that he might not be Unburdened unless he was really fearing the +1 Charizard. So I think that it's fair on my part to just go for the Calm Mind here, as I 100% live the Energy Ball from this thing, from that range, and I can just go for that Calm Mind. I can go for the Draining Kiss, kill off that Sceptile, get all that health back, as he's going to go into Coco thinking he lives, but that man's just going to drop to that modest Pixie Plate boosted +2 Comfey, as now this is just looking like a wrap, as I can just taunt his Porygon 2 as he tries to go for the Thunder Wave, and it's pretty much game over from this point, as he doesn't have any ways of beating the Comfey. So yeah, that is GG. That's pretty much just GG to Illusion. Comfey's gonna pick up all 6 kills against his team, so this man just tossing him on his neck. Yeah, but yeah, GG to Illusion. Unfortunate that there was some hacks involved, but yeah, it was a fun game overall. Comfey doing something as it hasn't really done too much this season, but it does have potential, so I don't want people sleeping on it. So yeah, we are now 7-2 after this week. However, we are still not locked, so I'm probably going to be tryharding for week 10, as I won't be locked unless a certain someone I won't be locked unless Zedin or Turk lose this week. Either one can lose, it doesn't really matter, but if either one of them lose, I'm locked. But if both of them win, I probably have to win my week 10 match. And also, we have the chance to secure that first seed in our conference. We are second right now, but if we win and Techno loses, we can secure that first seed, so that actually would be really cool, as the first seed gets a lot of benefits in the playoffs. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, so I'm going to sign off. So peace.